Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends and members from the family. I, TRISHA MAHAJAN, warmly welcome you all to this cold yet exciting Friday evening, to your very own love show, Journey of a Poet and Beyond. So, today, in this 12th episode, I bring for all of you a subject that we haven't discussed before. Let me make it simpler for you. It is going to be an evening dedicated to two people who have a lot of things in common, aced in the field by capturing the beauty of the subject through their lens. Irrespective of the fact of being behind the camera, they have made their remarkable presence felt not just in India but abroad as well. Directed documentary films, which are non fictional motion pictures intended to document reality, primarily for the purpose of instruction, education, or maintaining a historical record. Bestowed with awards and recognitions that fell short in front of the time when you start counting them on. An evening where a multifaceted woman stands tall in front of the term beyond, and a gentleman who owns a city and has 7 world records. So, my friends, any guesses from my dear audience? Come on, you can think a bit. Is it getting too difficult? You just have to rack your brains a little. But the only condition is that you are willing to take your hands off your cozy blankets. So let me just make it a little simpler for you and break this ice and break all the suspense and zip my lips and allow these two mavericks to talk about their own subject this evening, and hence I take this evening further on. So without further ado, let me invite my first guest. You have known her as a well-known poet, author, artist, gallerist, but today we're going to see her as a filmmaker. She has scripted, directed, and beautifully shot 12 documentary films. 3 of her documentary films are on the late great Indian poet, art and literary critic, art scholar, and art curator Keshav Malik. 7 of her documentary films titled Keshav Malik A Look Back in 2012, Keshav Malik Root Branch Bloom in 2013, Keshav Malik The Truth of Art in 2013, Mahakumbh Asta Ka Mahaparv in 2013, Weaves of Time in 2013, Kung Fu Nuns in Mystic Ladakh in 2014, Greece Art in 2015 are in the collection of Library of Congress US. Documentary film Keshav Malik, The Truth of Art is in the archive of Documentary Edge Campus, a resource center for documentary films New Zealand, to be used for educational and research purpose. Her documentary films have been screened by Indian Council for Cultural Relations, New Delhi, Thiruvananthapuram Museum of Art, Sanskriti Kendra at Anand Gram, New Delhi, Arts for All Artist Residency, Kala Ghoda Art Festival, Mumbai, Indian International Center, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, Delhi, India Habitat Center, Delhi, Lalit Kala Academy, among others. Not only this, her documentary films have been telecasted by DD Bharati, Lok Sabha TV, etc. So on that note, join me as I invite Sangeeta Gupta to join us in this evening. Sangeeta, I request you to please join us here. Good evening,
Good evening,
Sangeeta. How are you?
everybody. Good evening, Trisha. I am very well. Thank you for your generosity. Good introduction.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. My pleasure. So, for this evening, I have a gentleman who would be joining with us this evening, and I would like to introduce him first. And now it's turn to invite my second guest for the evening. He's a well known, internationally recognized media person with 7 world records to his credit. He's the founder of Noida Film City, a city that is, of course, quite dear to my heart, and MARWAH Studios, an Asian Academy of Film and Television, which is now one of the 10 best film schools of the world. He's associated with large number of television programs, feature films, and training films. He's the producer of largest number of short films in the world. He has trained more than 19,000 media professionals hailing from 145 countries of the world. Let me read that again. He's trained more than 19,000 media professionals hailing from 145 countries of the world. It's highly commendable. He is the recipient of large number of national and international awards. He's been heading more than 100 national and international media and social organizations. He's been titled as the Global Cultural Minister. He's also the President of International Chamber of Media and Entertainment Industry. He's now the Chancellor of AAFT University of Media and Arts and has been appointed as the Chief Scout for India. On that note, please join me as I invite Dr. Sandeep Marwah, who will join us this evening. Dr. Sandeep, I would request if you could join us here. Good evening, Dr. Sandeep. How are
Good
you?
evening. Good evening. How are you,
Good
Trisha?
evening. Good evening.
I'm
Good
How are
evening,
you,
fine.
Sandeep.
Sangeeta ji? Wonderful. Very
I'm
nice
very
seeing you.
fine. Good to see you all.
Great.
Good to connect. Yeah.
Great. So I would request all my viewers who are watching today to please write their questions in the chat box, and I will take it during the evening. These questions can be asked to either Sangeeta Gupta or Dr. Sandeep Marwah, who are guests for today's evening. So today's evening, I would divide the evening into three segments. There is an element, a special element in the mid of the segment, which I will reveal during this episode. And before taking much of your time, I would like to start the evening by asking my first question to Dr. Sandeep Marwa. Dr. Sandeep, when people were clueless about having a film city here in Delhi NCR, a filmmaking student actually brainstormed this entire idea and finally established it with full swing here. Tell our viewers how it actually started.
Oh, pretty good. See, I have to go back in 1986, rather actually 1982. 1982, when I went to Mumbai and I wanted to be in films, I realized that acting is not a tough job, but a very time consuming program. You have to wait in the wings for hours and hours to speak only one line. And I realized that I have to do a lot of things, and probably this is just one of the discipline for all that what I really want to present to the world. I came back home, back to Delhi, and then I started thinking about something bigger, better, smarter. 1986, I designed Film City, and I wanted to have this place in New Delhi, being a resident of capital. But then, unfortunately or fortunately, nobody paid heed to my words. I went to all the departments possible in New Delhi, the government, LNDO, DDA, MCD, uh, 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 all the authorities. And then nobody wanted to listen to all this story. They thought I am a film buff and a film lover, but and that, not more than that. Luckily, I met the chairman of Noida Authority, and he was rather more than excited to know about it. He invited me to the his office, and I gave him the project. The final project was submitted way back in 1986 December. The project took almost 1 year, from Noida to Lucknow to chief minister and to the finance committee and the whole governmental procedures. And in 1987, the project got its clearance. 1988 March, allotments were made, and trust me, no looking back. Then government gave us 3 years time to build up the infrastructure and come into production. 10th March 1991, I started the first professional studio of North India, Marwah Studios. And the story begins from there.
Wow, that's a
It's
really beautiful journey. Yeah,
quite a fun time. I mean, what you need is a lot of patience, perseverance.
right.
You have to pursue a lot these things. You have to fight with the department. You have to feed in
Yeah.
ample information, large number of research papers which you have to, because convincing government is a tough job. Basically, let's be very
Hmm.
frank. And I'm
Yeah.
very happy that things were moving very nice, and government believed in me, and there it is. Now I don't have to say anything about Noida Film City, because Noida Film City now is the
Mm.
fastest growing film city in the world. It's a 100-acre
Yeah.
complex, 75 acres outdoor, 25 acres indoor, 16 studios, and out of 16 studios, 350
Yeah.
channels are being broadcast to 162
Yeah.
countries, 24 by 7. About
Yeah.
17,000 media
Wow.
professional,
Yeah.
they are working there, and the city has been a earning ground for more than 150,000 people. So I'm very happy
Wow.
that I could do something for the nation.
That's really commendable.
Beautiful.
I mean, that deserves a round of applause. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So, Sangeeta, coming to you, what gave rise to the filmmaker in you, and when did it actually began? Because if you can share with the viewers briefly about what uh, gave that
Made me
kickstart,
a filmmaker.
yeah, yeah, to your filmmaking thing. Yeah.
Dominantly, it was in 2011 when I thought of making a film, producing a film rather, on Keshav Malik because I was very close to him and whatever he used to discuss about art, I thought that that should be documented. He being my mentor, philosopher, and guide, I thought that let me try and produce a film. I never thought of directing or scripting the film. So I approached a common friend who had the experience of working in Doordarshan. I asked him that, would you help me? He said, yes, yes, of course. What you do is you start doing the inputs. I said, what exactly I'm supposed to do? He said, collect his photographs, basic information about him and all that stuff you do. And then we will take 2 days and go and shoot the film at his residence and in different places, in maybe in galleries and in Mandi House and all. So I did all the groundwork. I met his wife. I discussed the project with Keshav, and then we started, collecting inputs. I really worked so hard, like a research scholar. I got his photographs of his early childhood when he was 4 year old and all that stuff I did, and also made a kind of a synopsis how my film will work. But the person who was to shoot the film and direct the film, he never had the time. So every time I used to go or call him, he would say, "क्या जल्दी है यार, कर लेंगे." ऐसे करके I was getting very frustrated. I am a person who is very impatient. When I decide to do something, then I head on like a bull. I get into the system. So it was not possible for me to wait anymore. But he used to say कि कर लेंगे यार, 2 दिन का तो काम है, कर लेंगे, तुम ये कर लो, वो कर लो. All that stuff I did. In fact, he made me write the script also, a rough script. I did all that. But he was not able to give me any time. I was very frustrated. One of these days, while my son was about to join his new job and he was waiting for his results and all, so we had gone to Kiran Nadar Museum, and some of the artists were showing their films, small documentary films, which was made on art. So I said, why don't you come along with me? I wanted to spend some time with him. So he went with me. And both of us saw that film, and मेरा frustration फिर निकलने लगा. I said, oh my God, I'm not able to make that film, and Keshav is getting so old and all that stuff. Then my son suggested, over a cup of coffee there itself, while we were standing there and talking to people, he said, why don't you shoot your film yourself? I said, "Tum pagal ho gaye ho. I don't know the technical know-how of making a film, and I'm not trained to do that. So how do I do that?" He said, "वो जो दूरदर्शन के लोग हैं ना, वो कुर्सी लगा के दो बैठ के ऐसी बकवास फिल्में बनाते हैं, उससे तो तुम बहुत अच्छा बनाओगी." And Keshav ki poetry and the whole personality is so abstract. You understand him much better than anybody else. So he inspired me to do the film. I didn't have the courage. I took 2, 3 days to decide, and then I went to Keshav. I said, Sharad is not helping us, and वो film ऐसे लटकी हुई है. Do you think that I should? I have a camera, professional camera. So, do you think that I can shoot that film with you, and we can start the work? Keshav didn't say anything. I thought, yeah, he knows कि मेरे से नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं बोल रहे हैं. Then after some time, when we finished talking about other things, about art, poetry, and all, I thought Keshav is not taking any interest in me making the film. मैंने कहा, okay, Keshav, bye, good night, I'm going home. Then he came to the door. He used to always come to drop me, at least near the door or near my car. He said, he didn't say, just looked at me. He said, when do we start the shooting of your film? Oh, so I got excited, and then we started to do the film. I shot everything, but I was a naive person. I was not a I knew photography, but I didn't know much anything about shooting and all. I hardly used the tripod and all that stuff. So film को मैंने shoot कर लिया. Then I went to the director again. I said, I have shot something. जब देखो इसको, तो बोला ठीक है, तुम एक वो चलो IIC में dinner करते हैं. We went there. He brought another lady with him, maybe his girlfriend. He said, तुम्हारे तो footage मैंने देखा है, बहुत ही बेकार है, इससे तो film बन नहीं सकती. अब मुझे गुस्सा आने लगा, तो हमने कहा कि क्यों नहीं बन सकती? बोले इतना फुटेज लेके आधे घंटे की डॉक्यूमेंट्री में क्या करोगी? अब बहुत बेकार फुटेज है, सब हिला हुआ है, ये है वो है. It, I am one person who cannot take so much criticism for nothing. So I said, okay, fine. हमने कहा आप बताओ इसमें फिल्म में कैसे बनाओगे? तो उन्होंने 2-3 आर्टिस्ट का नाम दिया कि इनसे इंटरव्यू ले लेंगे, वो. I said no. these people are, they don't understand केशव, they don't know anything about poetry, and उनका aesthetics मुझे ठीक नहीं लगता, मैं तो उनसे फिल्म, उनको रख के फिल्म नहीं बनेगी अभी। तो बोले अच्छा 2-3 दिन में तुम मुझे बताओ, फिर हम शूट करते हैं। I came back home. The dinner ended at around 11, जैसे होता है दिल्ली में, 11-11:30 हो गया, मैं घर आ गई। I was so frustrated. I thought कि कैसे करें कि मैं इस footage को किसी और एडिटर को दिखाऊं। So I called another artist friend, जिसके ऊपर एक फिल्म बनी थी छोटी सी। मैंने कहा यार कविता, तुम्हारा फिल्म किसने एडिट किया था? तो बोली तुम्हें रात को 12 बजे कोई काम नहीं बचा है, कल सुबह बात करते हैं। मैंने कहा नहीं, तुम मुझे अभी बताओ और उस आदमी का नंबर दो, मैं कल उसके पास जाऊंगी। तो she knew me कि मैं I am so insistent, then she gave me the number। मैंने कहा सुबह उसको एक फोन कर देना कि I will go with the footage, and fortunately it was a Saturday, it was a off day for me, so I went straight to him। उसने, मैंने कहा कि आप ये देख के बताओ कि इस फुटेज से कोई फिल्म बन सकती है क्या? तो उसने कहा फुटेज, वो भी डिप्लोमैट था, तो उसने कहा फुटेज ठीक है पर कुछ जरूरत से ज्यादा लंबी है। तो मैंने कहा काट देंगे? तो बोला ठीक है, बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी। हमने कहा केशव का बर्थडे है 5 नवंबर को, दिस वाज सितंबर। मैंने कहा केशव के बर्थडे के दिन मुझे ये फिल्म रिलीज करनी है फॉर 300 आर्टिस्ट, यू नो, ऑल माय फ्रेंड्स। आई वांट टू सरप्राइज हिम ऑन हिज बर्थडे। ये फिल्म उस दिन रिलीज होगी। बोला ठीक है। फिर हम लोगों ने काम शुरू किया। इन बिटवीन आई गॉट एन इनविटेशन टू पार्टिसिपेट इन वर्ल्ड हिंदी कॉन्फ्रेंस इन साउथ अफ्रीका, जोहानिसबर्ग। मैंने कहा मैं जोहानिसबर्ग जा रही हूँ। बोला ये फुटेज लेके मैं अकेले काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा, इतनी ज्यादा है ये। आई सेड कि मैं दिन रात काम करूंगी। देन बिफोर आई वेंट आई सैट विथ हिम फॉर, यू नो, हर रात हम बैठे रहते थे उनके साथ। एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली वी वर एबल टू मेक अ फिल्म which was released in ICCR. Some 325 people gathered together in that big auditorium. ICCR was very, because Keshav was such a big personality, तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है संगीता ने बनाई होगी, कुछ ठीक ही बनाऊंगा। फिल्म रिलीज हुई, कई जगह से वो हिली हुई थी थोड़ा बहुत। It was not the best of the best film, which you know everybody, एक दो लोग निकले, उन्होंने कहा कि इससे थोड़ा ये हिला हुआ है, वो हिला हुआ है। तो मैंने कहा हिला हुआ है, तो मैंने अपने एडिटर को भी बुलाया हुआ था, तो उसने कहा ये हम ठीक कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत नॉइज हटा सकते हैं। ऐसे मेरी जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई। इट वाज लाइक अ ऑन जॉब ट्रेनिंग फॉर मी। देन व्हाट आई डिड इज, after some time I re-edited that film and it was shown in Kiran Nadar Museum, because Keshav is such an important person in the art world and nobody had documented, nobody had made a film, so they thought that अब जो भी बना है देखा जाए। But every time when it was criticized, I was reworking on that। तो वो फिल्म मैं ऐसे रीवर्क कर करके जब मैंने उसको मेरे ग्रिप में आ गई, तो मैंने कहा मैं केशव के ऊपर एक फिल्म और बनाती हूँ। मैंने दूसरी फिल्म बनाई, फिर भी मुझे लगा और भी बहुत सारी बातें रह गई, तो मैंने तीसरी फिल्म बनाई। सो सी माय ऑब्सेशन, आई एम ऑब्सेसिवली पैशनेट पर्सन एंड केशव वाज वेरी डियर टू मी। मैंने 3 फिल्में उन पे बनाई और फिल्म बनाना सीख लिया। तो कर्टसी 2 people, 2 males in my life, my son and Keshav, are responsible for making me a filmmaker. After that, my interest developed in the subject so much that I started making better films and content हमारा बहुत अच्छा बनने लगा। So ultimately US Library of Congress decided to keep all 7 of my films in their collection. They bought it.
Yeah.
So you know, ऐसे struggle करके मैं filmmaker बनी हूँ। ये छोटी
Wow,
सी कहानी है मेरी।
that's such an interesting tale. I mean, and 3 films. I was about to come to that point. Also, 3 films on one gentleman. I mean, it needs a lot of courage and a lot of that passion and zeal inside to have to be making that film on one person itself. You need to be very creative in a thought process.
Because I loved Keshav so much. He was my mentor, and I thought that जो मुझे करना मैं कर, and he was patient with me. He allowed me to have so much of his time, you know. Very kind and very generous person he was. It was like a Greek god. So उनके पर फिल्म बनाना, 3 फिल्में भी कम ही बनाई है मैंने। अभी मैं एक और, जो मेरे पास कुछ चीजें बची हुई हैं, उनको लेके मैं एक और सीरियस फिल्म बनाने की सोच रही हूँ। So it's
That's
not
great.
the end of the story.
Amazing. Yeah. So ongoing and still goes on. Yeah. So,
हाँ हाँ
yes. So, Dr. Sandeep, coming to you, that was Sangeeta's first movie making tale. If I talk about your first serial, it was Khali Hath, and you started at MARWAH Studios with Doordarshan's commissioned serial BPL ad, and with your very own studio, like I just mentioned, MARWAH Studios. Tell us something about that very first experience of yours.
No, let me tell you, I have to go back because
Yeah.
on this side, I had applied for Noida Film City project. On the other side, I was pretty lucky to have a news agency associated with Doordarshan. That was my first experience. I mean,
Okay.
I had in done I mean I was a part of a theater initially in Delhi, but then this my first experience was running a news agency, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
got my interest into documentaries later.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a small news agency which I started in Khan Market, and idea was only to shoot for Doordarshan, and once your portion of shooting is selected by Doordarshan, then only they're going to pay you. So it was on a ad hoc
Yeah.
basis, a very tough job. So every day I used to carry a very heavy camera. I mean, you can't even imagine, the cameras that time were very heavy, and the
Mm.
recorder used to be a separate on your shoulder,
Yeah.
and you're covering a very important event, maybe a prime minister's event at Vigyan Bhavan, or maybe a coverage at Chandi Chowk or something, and making collecting ample material, coming back home, I mean, to your
Yes.
studios, editing, do your editing, make a kind of a ready portion to project on Doordarshan, and rushing to Doordarshan for that, and all that process,
Mm.
and a bureaucracy, and the red tapeism, and the filmmaking and art. I mean, oh my God, I learned quite a lot in that period. Then
Yeah.
obviously when I started my studio, everything was at my disposal. Things were very much there. This was my first commission serial where I was the kind of let's say executive producer, because produced by Doordarshan, directed by Khalid Sultan, and a star cast from Delhi, Bombay, mix and match. It was quite an
Mm.
exciting thing. Most of the time I used to be right on the floor, because I this was my studio actually is my own training setup. I've learned everything from
Mhm.
my own studio, because
Mm.
I've been a student of commerce, then of law, then of management, and then you know how it is. I've done my
Yeah.
BCom, MCom, marketing management, administrative law, taxation, and never I got into this part so deeply. So my studios,
Yeah.
they became my own institution, and learned a lot from the first serial itself, from the first ad itself. We made around 13 episodes. We worked for around about a month and a half, and uh, almost that period, 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Let's put that at 12
Mm.
hours, 30 days. That was my best time, when I learned all the tricks of the trade, the camera placement, the lighting part, how to handle the actors, how to
Mm.
direct a program, how to convince an artist to speak the dialogue, and if they have
Mm.
forgotten the dialogue, how to use
prompt.
that wrong part as a part of the film.
How interesting, how interesting,
Yeah.
the when you your struggle period is the most interesting
Yes.
part
Yeah.
of your life, everybody's life. When we struggle to learn things, we are trying to shape up our own personality, our own work. That is the most important part, and I really admire Mr. Sandeep Marwah for doing everything on his own. I am also like that. मैं बिल्कुल A to Z सब कुछ सीखना चाहती हूँ.
Mm.
That learner is still in me.
And those days, the best part is, in those days, 88, this is 91, I'm talking.
Yeah.
91, there was nothing in Noida. There was no proper markets, there were no proper
Yeah.
suppliers, there was no conveyance, no taxi stand, no scooter bus stand. And people, when they were in Noida, their idea was to use maximum hours of the studio to cover largest part of the shooting. And there was a time when they used to work till 1 2 a.m. early in the morning, and I've been
Hmm.
getting calls from my home. Okay, where are you? Why are you so late? Come back home. I say I'm still learning because I'm with the unit right now here. I know that I'm not going to be paid for all my services, but that doesn't matter. I'm still learning. And there was a time when especially in winters, I remember suddenly these people, they used to ask for there was no canteen. There was no
Yeah.
these cats. So I used to make tea uh, in my room, and my manager used to serve tea on the floor. Winters, everyone needs tea. So we've gone through anything and everything, which was, trust me, it was
Yeah.
not required because my father could afford to give me anything and everything that time.
Yeah.
But then I learned the ways, right, staying back into the studio itself. I wanted to go through each and every point of filmmaking, every breaking point, every point of humiliation, and every equipment which is needed in filmmaking. I learned to operate, learned to uh, 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 use that setup, that environment, and I'm very
Hmm.
happy that I've done ample work with my own hand, and at least nobody could make fool out of me after that.
Yeah. Because see, if you
So
learn it your
fascinating
way,
to hear this.
yeah. Yeah, because if you learn it your way, you can deliver it in the best way possible. You know the little nitty-gritties of the entire trade that is there. So that is very important. So taking the evening further on, I come to the second section of the evening, and this is a little twisted section because I call it Trisha's 10 Twisters, and wherein I ask 10 questions, and these will be primarily focused on documentary filmmaking or filmmaking, and I'll be asking both of you these questions. Dr. Sandeep, I'll be starting with you. So, if I ask you that, what do you have to say about the current scenario of documentary filmmaking? So, what would you like to say?
Fantastic, I must say. I think things have changed a lot. I have seen when documentary
Hmm.
filmmakers never used to attempt to make the second one because they were always been
Hmm.
crying that my first one I could not sell, something like that. And
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
time has come when you are absolutely ready to, because the scope has gone so wide. The
Hmm.
It's unbelievable. Not only that you are making a documentary for some kind of an instruction or for education or for historical, but today documentaries are actually made for entertainment too. They have changed the color. That's the best part. And
Hmm.
scope has gone much bigger. The platforms are many. You can project your product right from a social media to an online television station to a YouTube to a private channel or a government channel. It's unbelievable. And the best part is that now you have a ready audience for documentary. There was a time when people, they never used to like documentary. I can recollect, where we used to see documentary in a theater. When we used
Yeah.
to go for a feature film, you were forced to see a
Yes.
documentary, Bhartiya Samachar Chitra, and that
Hmm.
used to be a collection of news items, around 8 to 10 very important news items, and you are watching them before. You're forced to watch before a feature film. I mean, I'm sure you don't know about it
Yes.
because
Hmm.
talking about 40 years.
That time she wouldn't be there.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm talking, and this is how we started watching documentaries. Then, when Doordarshan came in, and then because Doordarshan started with only 2 hours, and in those 2 hours they used to have two times samachar and feature film in 6 days or 4 days,
Hmm.
in bits and parts, and sometimes they used to show documentary. So people who've been loving documentary, I must say that it's a wonderful time for them. There are
Hmm.
channels now which are only
Hmm.
showcasing documentaries and nothing else. Whether they are on a
Hmm.
wildlife, whether they are on a any damn subject. I tell you, today
Hmm.
scope is unbelievable.
Hmm. Great. So, Sangeeta, on the contrary, I would like to ask you, do you think people today have the much needed awareness about documentary films if we compare it to feature films? Do you think that?
You know, these are two different genres. We can't compare feature films with documentary. It's a different genre altogether. But as Mr. Marwa says, now things have improved. You know, I have been making films only since 2012. But from 2012 to 2021 now, last 9, 10 years, I've seen things changing for the better. Now there are young people making documentaries, videos, small videos, 2 minutes films, 6 minutes
Mhm.
films, and YouTube has given a very big boost to documentaries.
Right.
Then Netflix also has a section on documentaries. Earlier we had only Doordarshan. Then it was so difficult to get your documentary shown. I was lucky because my content was good and I was treating the subjects which were very, very important for that particular, you know, society at that point of time. So I was able to show my films in India International Center, IGNCA, Lalit Kala Academy because the subject matter was such. But over the years, I have seen that things have really improved in India. However, it has much has to be done still. When I went to Greece and I made a film on Greece, my while I was there for an exhibition of my paintings, what I saw is they have big documentary film festivals happening. And in India, when a festival like such happens, we request friends कि हमारी फिल्म देख ले यार, मेरी फिल्म का आज स्क्रीनिंग
Mhm.
है. वहां पे ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. People go and buy tickets to see documentaries. When I told my friend, she said, "Come and sit with me. We have a very important task to do." I said, "What?" She said that अभी select करो. हमने कहा कल कर लेंगे. बोली टिकट ही नहीं मिलेगा कल. अभी select करो. We'll have to book in advance. Even for getting a ticket for a documentary film, people used to stand in queue for long hours in Greece to buy
Mhm.
a ticket for watching a documentary film.
I'm
Otherwise, you book
recollecting
in advance.
I'm
Mm.
recollecting about 30 years back or
Yeah.
25 years back, there was a protest by filmmakers in the government office that why can't you allot a slot on Doordarshan for documentary filmmakers to please show at least one documentary at
Mm.
even at a night slot. It'll do. So there was a protest, and many documentary filmmakers signed a charter and gave it to the minister, information and broadcasting minister, to please allot a slot on Doordarshan. This was a kind of a persuasion. This is the kind of a agitation they have. I mean, irritation and agitation they wanted to express. This was a scope, and today, as Sangeeta ji is very well said, that YouTube itself is a idea is to express yourself. Filmmaker
Mm.
Right.
wants to express himself. It can be a fiction, it can be a documentary. I mean, it all depends upon what kind of a
Yeah.
taste you carry with you. And you have created a beautiful informative film. These used to be called informative films, and before that
Right.
it used to be called actuality films. This,
Actuality. Yeah. Yeah.
this is how it started. And then uh, uh, and then if you're getting a slot, it is more than enough on
Yeah.
Doordarshan. But today you're making a film and you're just
Mm.
uploading on YouTube, you're uploading on Facebook, and
Yes.
you have ready buyers for it. And
Yeah.
as this question, what you asked, whether documentaries are as popular as feature films, it cannot be. Feature films, we always start with a very heavy, big budget. Documentaries, they don't have
Mm.
budget. I mean, feature film, you have
Mm.
a 40 to 100 or 150 people working together at the same
Mm.
time. Documentary, probably you're just three people making a film. You're
Mm.
cutting short on the day one, on the day of your Murat, you know that you have only three people unit. So, I mean, no comparison at all.
Yeah.
And and entertainment films are made only to create big money. Trust me, entertainment is first
Mm.
Yes.
for them to create money. But documentaries never
Mm.
made to create money. I've been watching from last 30 years, 40 years. People, they just want to express. It's
Mm.
the easiest way to express yourself. If you're
Mm.
going to make a fiction, it'll take hell of out of you. It'll take a lot of energy. But it's very
Mm,
easy to make a documentary. You have opted a subject, you have done ample research on it, probably you've done some
mm.
kind of recce, and then you're carrying your cameraman, one sound recorders those days. Now you don't even need that because
Ah,
your cameraman
same bit.
is enough to do rest of the things. And two people unit is going to best of the places to cover a place or a movement or a agitation or probably a
Mm,
very, I mean, and you are quite focused to cover some kind of a thing, and you are shooting a lot. And then right, the
mm,
oldest proverb of filmmaking, that films are made on editing table, and this applies now exactly to documentary. You shoot a lot
yes.
and come
Mm,
back, sit on editing table, and start actually
mm,
making how
yeah,
I
Yes.
make.
yeah, yes. So, Dr. Sandeep, coming to you, do you think it is also essential? Both of you have been self-starters, right? So, do you think that it is also essential for an individual to go to a film institute in order to become a successful documentary filmmaker?
100%. 100% right. I mean, there is no second alternative. I mean, I have created an incolab in this country. 10th, I mean, it's 22nd July 1993. I started the first private film school of this country, fourth in the country otherwise, and first in the
Mhm.
North India, and second in the North India. And that's how we started. Now it's been almost 28 years I'm in education, and I can very well say that it'll be foolishness to enter into filmmaking without going through a proper training, because it's a very expensive
Mm,
medium now. It costs you a lot of money, it costs
mm,
you a lot of resources, and to
mm.
take the optimum use of your resources, you must know what filmmaking is all about. And if you want to save money, then you have to learn camera, editing, direction, and rest of the disciplines. I mean, imagine I'm running 50 different courses today in university, so that people can learn a lot about filmmaking, and simultaneously they can also excel in at least one or two disciplines.
That's commendable. Sangeeta, coming to you, do you think that India has enough platforms where Indian documentary filmmakers can be raised?
Yes, yes. Now we have many avenues. I have been saying this earlier, in last 10 years, in one decade also, things have changed for the better. So much has changed for the better in last one decade itself. Now people are interested. They want to see the experience, what a particular filmmaker or a director or the content writer is trying to convey. People are very keenly interested in knowing that. And on a particular subject there may be 100 films, and still people are interested in your point of view too. So there's more. You have many. The receptivity for documentaries have really increased in by many folds. The only thing is like what Mr. Marwa is saying. हम जब बचपे छोटे थे तो हम लोगों को वही फिल्म देखने को मिलती थी, जो फीचर फिल्म होती थी उसके पहले जबरदस्ती देखना पड़ता था फिल्म डिवीजन की। एक ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट फिल्म दिखाई जाती थी और हम बोर होते रहते थे कि ये क्या बनाया। इतनी बोरिंग फिल्में बनती थी, बट नाउ द कंटेंट, द क्वालिटी, and of course what he says, I also endorse that to some extent, that training makes you a perfect person. You save time. What I learned, because I didn't had the opportunity of going to film city and learn as a student, because मेरे पास time नहीं था, so I had to learn the hard way. But you can really save time and you can learn the expertise in a shorter period of time. You save your resources, your time, your energy. मैं थोड़ी फितूरी हूँ तो मैंने अपने आप कर करके सीखा है, बट स्टिल जब मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम होती है मैं यूट्यूब पे जाकर लर्निंग वाले उनके ट्यूटोरियल्स देखती हूँ,
Tutorials.
बिकॉज
Mm.
हाँ, यू इफ यू आर ऑलवेज अ लर्नर देन of course, and now I know where to go and take advice for my next, if I have a
Add
technical
on to
glitch.
it, yeah, if you add on to it, it's very important because see, even
Yeah.
the government has learned all these years. The private bodies have learned a lot. Now every good body, government or private, they want to have a small documentary, a corporate film, which is again part of documentary actually on themselves. So every government department, state government, central government, corporation, multinational companies, they
Right.
all want kind of a films on themselves. Then they want films on their promoters. That is also part of a documentary. So all this has given quite a big rise and a quantum of business in documentary. So somebody who has learned filmmaking, actually, you have to learn filmmaking, how to make films, how to use the equipment, how to create this beautiful product out of nothing. You can
Yeah.
enter into any of the streams. You can get into news and current affairs. You can get into entertainment. Doesn't matter at all. So learning is very important, and a quantum of business. I mean, like today, if I am not wrong, there are about at least 20,000 setups which must have created a film for themselves, and you have another same number who are still waiting to make. So, little efforts, with little approach, with little presentation, with little past experience, you can get a film to make, and you can make money also. You can make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sandeep, coming to you, now, which documentary film has inspired you the most and why?
Well, there are lots of them actually. There's a film on Mahatma Gandhi which I saw. There was a film on Frontier Gandhi which I saw. These films have really touched me. Probably if I go back to my school when I saw a film on Sardar Patel, and I learned two lines कि सभी दिशाओं से शुभ सुंदर भाव विचार भरे नित अंतर पुण्य धरा बन जाए स्वर्ग ये मेरे यत्नों से करुणा कर. See, whether it's a north, south, east, or west, whether you're in India or abroad, whether you're the top of the hill or you're standing at a seashore, whether you are in a lush green garden and looking at some colorful flowers, or maybe looking at the most beautiful woman on earth. But the fact is, there are
Yeah.
two things which are much more beautiful than what you can see with your naked eyes. And these two things are your thinking and your feelings. And the best part is that both things are right within you. The whole filmmaking is based on these two. And the best part is that uh, uh, this is what I learned in my school, and I still remember, and that has changed my total thinking. I can say that. I
Yeah.
realized that what I've learned is nothing but a filmmaking in my school, because bhavnaएं और जो अच्छी सोच, you have to think out of the box, and you have to be emotional when you are making a film to touch the hearts of the people or to touch their mind. Otherwise, there's a beautiful film called Won't You Be Neighbor? It's a wonderful film, The Impact of a Neighbor. There is a film which is called When We Were Kings. It's an Muhammad Ali, if you can recollect. Then there was a film
Yes,
called
yes, yes.
there's a Grey Gardens. It's two people who are staying in a rundown home, beautifully made. Then there is a film called Paris is Burning. This is about the
Yes, yes, yes.
nightlife of Paris.
Paris.
There is another film called 13th. It's about the USA prison system. I mean, these are some of the finest documentaries which one should not miss if you like documentaries. And then channels today, they are full of it. I mean,
Yes,
you
Mm.
open
yes.
television and you can find ample documentaries, ample documentaries. Trust me, when you're watching, there was no news channels earlier, mind you.
Yeah.
And today, all news channels, somehow they are actually making small documentaries every day and projecting to you. When they make, when they show you for 10 continuous minutes the riots taking place in the one of the corners of New Delhi, it is nothing but it's a documentary, because
Yeah.
someone is actually talking about what is happening in front of you, and somebody is suddenly comes in between and start giving their reviews and views on what is happening. So this is all become like a participatory documentaries. So you're watching these programs, news programs, but actually you're watching a small documentaries in between.
Mm.
So somebody has to learn from even these programs.
Yeah. Yeah. Sangeeta, coming to you, a book you would like to make a documentary on one fine day.
Not exactly. What I'm trying to do these days is, uh, I'm trying to highlight the places of India. Most of the
Mhm.
Indians now, they feel very proud कि मैं तो यूरोप गया था, मैं स्विट्जरलैंड देख के आया, मैं ये देख के आया, मैं वो देख के आया. मुझे लगता है इंडिया में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो बहुत ही ज्यादा खूबसूरत हैं और उनको हाईलाइट नहीं किया गया. जैसे लद्दाख, इट्स वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट सब्जेक्ट्स. And Ladakh also, I made a film on Kung Fu nuns. We have always heard of, practicing martial art was the domain of males. However, now with with progress and with gender equality in Vietnam, nuns started doing kung fu's, and there's a cult in monastery. It's called Hemis Monastery in Ladakh. When Drukpa Koilong from that monastery went to Vietnam, he saw those uh, nuns doing, and then he said that, can you come and train my nuns in my monastery in Ladakh? And subsequently those nuns came and trained them, and I made a film on that because Drukpa Koilong was kind enough to invite me to see the festival, Hemis Monastery Festival, where they were performing dragon dance, kung fu nuns, martial art. So I had gone there to write the article about women empowerment, how nuns can
Mhm.
be trained in martial
Right.
art to, even in a monastery, there's a system where monks are so important that they will do the meditation. They are the special people who will connect to God, and the nuns will do the drudgery. They will do the housework and keep them in good humor. So Drukpa Koilong, he decided that no, they have equal right to meditate and enlighten them. Salvation is that important to everybody. It is not gender based. So he said that, why don't you people train in martial art? Martial art, when you train in martial art, then you are so focused. If you're not focused and not you don't have that concentration, you cannot do that. So that concentration also helps the person to meditate better. So I made a film on Kung Fu nuns, and that kind of subject fascinates me. Most of the people in India wouldn't even know that Kung Fu is performed by nuns, none other than the nuns staying in monasteries. So these are the subjects which fascinate me, and I want to highlight that in India so much is happening which we are not aware of. Like I've
Mhm.
made another film called Ladakh Calling. I'm working on that, still working on that. I have made another few films on Mahakumbh. I've made a film on Ujjain. I've made a film on Allahabad, Prayag. I've done small poetry films. So I'm trying to experiment and show India in a better light, in a positive light. There's so much to explore in our country. This will this will give, maybe it will cultivate people to have spiritual tourism in Ladakh, in Kashmir, in other places. So all this is important, and you have to decide what genre you will work. There's so much to do. So I have decided to highlight India and the Indian culture and Indian
Wonderful.
spiritual tourism, to be very specific, through poetry, and I'm also making poetry films. So I feel this subject is so big. There are, the content should be good. If your content is
Right.
good, then of course people will be interested in seeing your documentaries, and you have to be
That's
good
true.
at your content.
Yeah, that's correct. Commendable. So, if you would like to go back in time and pick up any one documentary of yours and would like to tweak it a little bit or change some part of it or portion of it, what would that be?
Oh, you asking
Your
me?
first film is always,
No, I'm
you
asking
asking
Sangeeta.
Sandeep.
Hmm.
Sangeeta, yes.
You
Yeah.
you all your films are your babies. When I am working on a new film, that becomes the most important baby. You want to make it the best. That kind of a thing. When I'm doing a painting, then still I feel that the best is yet to come. So that kind of feeling is always there, and it is good. It should give you anxiety to do better in life. But however, I am very fascinated with my first film because that made me a filmmaker. That made me express my affection and my reverence for Keshav. So that film, Truth of Art, will be very, very dear to my heart. However, I have experimented with my own poetry, Weaves of Time. There's a collection of English poems. I have made a film on 7 poems of that collection. That also is a very experimental kind of film. Then recently, I have been doing a film on compassion, which is about love for animals, how we are interdependent for our love. The love should not be confined to from human to human. It should also extend to nature and to other beings. सड़क का कुत्ता है तो आप उससे प्यार क्यों नहीं करेंगे, और कर सकते हैं तो वो आपसे उससे ज्यादा प्यार करता है. तो ये सारे सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जिनको मैं हैंडल करने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ in my own way.
Beautiful.
I can't say which one. You have to tell me which one you like.
I'm waiting for Keshav Malik, the sequel part that you just mentioned. Yes, the fourth in the series. Yes. So, Dr. Sandeep, coming to you, a documentary that you would like to make.
I'm quite, I must say I'm quite lucky that I have tried to express myself through my students. And I have covered large number of subjects. Whatever you can think of, probably I have made documentaries on that. And making short film is my now habit, let's put that way. So I need not to be on the floor every time, but then what I do is I make small units and give a wonderful opportunity to young filmmakers to go ahead and make film for my production company. I know that I'm not going to get a film of a quality because they are all young filmmakers. They have just passed out from a school. But then at least someone should be there to support them. And this is one of the ways also to give them a wonderful exposure, how to go ahead of making films of their own after proper training. I'm open for anything and everything. The latest what I have added to my whole collection is films on disability, films on special children, because I've taken a very important segment of the government, and my idea is to sensitize all the young students, people from good family, people from kids from school, good schools. They must know the pain of the people who are living right next to you, and you don't even pay heed to them. So this is what I'm trying to go ahead, and to such an extent that anyone who really wants to make a film on disability or special children, let's put that way, then I am ready to provide them anything and everything at my cost. I mean, you can use the infrastructure, you can use the equipment, you can use the manpower. I will provide you everything. Come with the subject, and I will provide you everything from my side to make films on these subjects. And then there are a few films
very appreciable.
Thank you, ma'am. I've made few films on environment, few on school children, few on a woman's problem. There are a lot of women problems which I have tried to cover. Huge. It's abundant. It's a 2,900 films, short films I have now, from 1 minute to 1 hour. This is a collection of films which we have made in a span of all these years. So I'm very happy and open for many things.
That's really a noble idea, wherein you have opened the platform for people for making films.
And the biggest thing is that this is last year I announced this, that any foreign filmmaker, he wants to make a documentary in India, and especially within a parameter where even I can comfortably go with him, we will provide everything on the house to that foreign filmmaker.
Very good. Very good.
We have taken a chance earlier with a film called Smile Pinky. I'm associated with this film, Smile Pinky, and this is the one film which brought Oscar to India.
Yes.
And I'm so happy.
Very commendable. Very commendable.
Yes. Beautiful
This is the
film. Yeah.
first ever documentary short film which has brought Oscar to India.
Yeah.
It's almost now 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, coming to the other question, Dr. Sandeep, if I may ask you, something that you would like to tell to our viewers about your thoughts on Sangeeta's documentaries.
Well, lately I've come to know that she's made now 12 documentaries, which is commendable, very nice, exciting, and out of which 3 of them on Mr. Malik, and I knew him very well because we have an art gallery, and that's how I met Mr. Malik. A genius, I must say. And if she has made documentaries now, it's my duty now. I think it's my dharma to see these films immediately. Probably even tomorrow or day after, I'm definitely going to see these films, and then I'm going to comment on that. But she has spoken. I can understand. She's very correct that when you are not formally trained in filmmaking, you learn while doing, because this is how even we have devised the course. You lose a lot of money, you lose a lot of resources, time, but this is what a film school they provides you. They provide you infrastructure, they provide you time, they provide you know-how, and you learn by doing it. And once you are a trained filmmaker, then you can make the same film in shortest period of time and in the
Yes.
shortest budget, smallest budget.
Yes.
That's what is required. You save time and you save money. Uh, so I think definitely I'm going to see these films and then I'm going to comment on it. But I'm happy that there are 3 documentaries ready on Mr. Malik, which I think I must see it. And not only see, I will highlight these films, and I will
Thank,
see to it that they should get a full coverage.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Sangeeta, coming to you, your thought on Dr. Sandeep's work,
You know, I have
primarily films.
always
Yeah.
been, I know him since last 20 years. Maybe we have interacted only, sometimes we are on the same desk, talk either like co-speakers, or maybe I go to his institute as a guest speaker as a poet, as a writer. So all this, we have interacted so much, but I have always admired his work. Every person who has done anything as a pioneer in any field, his efforts has to be saluted, because to start something on your own is so it needs courage, it needs your indomitable spirit to sustain that. You have to sustain yourself first and build up something. Any person who is a self-made person has the courage, has the ability to sustain his work and believe in his work. First you have to believe in your work, then people will follow you, then you will be able to lead others. I have seen him speaking to his students while his festivals happen, especially when I go for the inaugural function or something. I've seen him speaking, क्या हिंदी बोलते हैं साहब, क्या इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, और कैसे धुआंधार बोलते हैं, और उनका कंटेंट इतना अच्छा होता है, उनकी आवाज इतनी अच्छी, उनकी पर्सनैलिटी इतनी अच्छी है, स्टूडेंट्स इनके पीछे ऐसे घूमते हैं जैसे किसी हीरो के पीछे घूम रहे हो. दैट शोज हिज इन्वॉल्वमेंट एंड एंगेजमेंट विथ हिज स्टूडेंट्स. हर समय काम करते हुए मैंने इनको देखा है, और ये भी नहीं कि किसी जगह पे जाने के लिए मना कर दें कि मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं नहीं बोलूंगा. ही विल मेक हिमसेल्फ अवेलेबल, मे बी फॉर अ शॉर्ट टाइम, बट ही विल कम. He encourages others to do better in life. He has encouraged Gagandeep, Amit Kaur, and all these youngsters who were, still doing things. चाहे वो पब्लिशिंग हो, चाहे कॉफी टेबल बुक हो, किसी भी जॉनर में हो, पोइट्री में हो. I have seen him as a person who inspires others to do better, and that is the quality I really admired in him, and would always admire. There is so much to learn that one should not give up. मैं भी नहीं करती हूँ, मगर ठीक है, और उनकी पर्सनैलिटी से ऐसा बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
But it's very important to announce here that our next Global Festival of Journalism is right at the
Yeah.
corner. It's going to be on 12th, 13th, and 14th of February, 3
Yeah.
days. and about 10, 11 events. Is going to be again big fun, but this is going to be
Mhm.
online because of the pandemic. And I'm very happy. I'm getting a wonderful response from all over India and abroad. Large participation I'm expecting again this time.
I was about to
Very
come to
good.
that question only. That if you could talk about the Global Film Festival.
Hmm.
I think you can continue. There's something wrong with
Yeah, yeah.
Trisha. उसका
I
कुछ
can just
हुआ हाँ.
tell you
Yeah,
little
yeah. Please
more.
highlight. हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
Yeah. See, there's going to be 9 seminars with different topics. Very interesting. The best
Mhm.
part of the festival is that this time we are launching after Radio Noida 107.4 FM.
Mhm.
Now we are launching Radio Raipur on 13th of February, which is going to be at the World Radio Day. 12th
Mhm.
is International Day of Journalism. 13th is
Mhm.
World Radio Day. 14th is Valentine's Day. So all three together becomes a
Yeah.
global festival of journalism. This everyone must remember that. And I'm happy
Yeah.
that this time we are honoring the again some women who have done a commendable job as a citizen journalist. So this is one, and then obviously we will be also honoring the next edition of the biggest journalism award in journalism, which is Mahatma Gandhi National Award for Journalism. We're going to have some people for that also, and then uh, I'm sure it's going to be a very interactive, very informative, and very entertaining program.
Yeah.
We are sure that. We are sure of that.
Yes, for sure. Sangeeta, you have
Yeah.
been to a lot of film festivals, and how do you think that film festivals are opening up ways for filmmakers to project their works?
So, film festivals are a very important aspect for old filmmakers as well as the new, upcoming, budding, promising filmmakers. I was in a jury with UNESCO. They had invited entries or about small video films made on mobile, but they had given a subject, and the kind of entries we got, few hundreds, and the kind of quality they had given. If you give a subject and the youngsters are making films, so I feel there's enough to be done. And these festivals, these opportunities, when a child, a teenager gets an award, say of a few thousand rupees, it is very encouraging for that filmmaker to pursue that passion further. It is very important, and film festivals do give such kind of a leverage to new, upcoming, and old film. I have seen so many film festivals and seen best of the best films there. Now, I would just mention even on Netflix, there's a section on documentaries. And being an abstract artist, there's a series on abstract. It's called Abstract. And it's not only about painting, it's about everything. A person who is working and researching on the fonts which we use for typing, एक आदमी ने पूरी लाइफ लगा दी उसके बारे में काम करके न्यू फॉन्ट्स बनाने के लिए. So there's so much to learn, from these documentaries. And there are many forums, very many festivals. Because of the COVID this year, we were not were physically present in those festivals, but I think they will come back with the new vaccine coming in and things improving. Things will go back to normal. Till then, in the digital and the virtual world, we will enjoy festivals, which Mr. Marwa is going to do. There are some other forums also. They are now using the digital platform, and things are moving on. So all these festivals are very important. Uh, you know, you will all, if I go and read my poem in his festival, I always get 100 students or 2000 students, listening to that poetry. It's a different feel. It charges you. You are recharged to do better, to read better, to write better, to make good
Yeah,
poems. So all
yeah,
festivals are very important.
Very important.
yes. Quite true. So, Dr. Sandeep, you have trained 19,000 media professionals, if I'm not wrong, from 145 countries of the world. It's a very big achievement. You have created livelihood for so many people and immediately their families as well. You've opened a platform for them. Little you could talk about how did you touch these many lives and how could you reach out to so many people?
See, the best part is that the most important thing, rather, I must say that you have to maintain a quality. Uh, the day I got into education, I made it a point that I have to be the best, bottom line. And I have a one very common line which I keep on repeating, that there is always scope for improvement. It's not that if I have created or design a course in 1993, after that I need not to look into it. Sorry, you will be surprised that I sit on my course and syllabus every 3 months, and rectify, add, subtract, correct, mend, bringing change, update it, and whatever best I can do in 3 months, whatever I have learned in 3 months, I try to put into those courses. And probably that's the reason that courses, all of the courses are very popular. And it all started with daily NCR slowly, and then to the neighboring countries, and then slowly and gradually now we have touched
Mm,
145 countries of the world. And I'm very happy that
mm,
I've been a case study in UCLA in USA. And then after that, I became a case study in 35 countries. And now AFT obviously is a role model when it comes to film, television, and media training is concerned. Many institutions, they have tried to copy us, but then just mere copying your syllabus or
Yeah.
uh, your written work will not pay. See, it's the
Mm,
execution. It's the execution. It's the personal
mm,
touch what we are trying to give to each and every student. Every
mm. Mhm.
he is disconnected now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Hmm. So till he gets back.
Yeah. So, Sangeeta, coming to you, through Prithvi Fine Art and Cultural Center, a non-profit organization constituted to keep the cultural and social heritage of the country alive, you've opened avenues for providing education in fine arts, studio arts, and visual arts and design. It also works for the promotion of fine arts and music. You've also held film screenings at your center. What do you have to say about it when it comes to considering it as a platform for young filmmakers or video editors or cameramen and others from the fraternity?
see,
You know,
I
even when ev- even when I was not a
Yeah,
filmmaker, I was very fascinated with this subject, and
yeah,
it was always my endeavor to
mm,
help young people. You know, most of the time you just have to counsel them that what you're doing is good enough.
mm,
You you know, sometimes you just need to encourage people to sustain themselves. They will sustain, but they just need sometimes holding hands, connecting dots. So all these are, you know, my small society is a forum where young people can always come in, discuss their issues, take advice, whatever best possible advice I can give them, I give them. Otherwise I refer them to my friends who can give them better advice. You know,
mm,
motivating people also is very important, and especially now we are going through such uncertain times. There's so much uncertainty, so much of unemployment. People do not know how to cope up with their grief. People have lost their dear ones. People have lost communication with, you know, there's no physical contact. So depression also is happening. I would say, Mr. Marwa, that please try and make some small films on depression, which will really help the youngsters. The kind of suicide people are committing and in the younger age group is
mm,
really very heartbreaking. So
yeah,
I was thinking, but because I am into the culture mold more, so Mr. Marwa can ask his students, you know, to make films on depression. Why young students, a teenager who is only 14-year-old, 18-year-old, why they are committing suicide? This bothers me as a senior citizen, as a responsible citizen. This bothers me that
mm,
why we cannot make people happy, why people are not communicating so much with each other, why people withdraw. a first sign of a depression is withdrawal symptom. You withdraw, you close yourself, you lock yourself in your thoughts, in your issues. So this would be a very good subject, and this should be encouraged. The young students, if a young person makes a film about young person, I think the appeal will be more. So this can be one of the subjects for making new films by youngsters. And Prithvi is always, it's a forum where we like to interact with people, young poets, young writers, young artists. Anybody young is always welcome to come and discuss or see how they can use this venue for their upliftment or showcasing their work.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sandeep, coming to you, how do you see the future of documentary films in India? Particularly, we're talking about our country.
I missed the word. What you said, I couldn't hear here. Future of.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you see the future of documentary films in India? Yeah.
Well, I think it's the time has come when documentary filmmakers will be as important as the fictional film feature filmmakers, because whatever said and done, you need documentaries at every stage of life. And whether you and the best part is that during this pandemic, I just would like to correct here that during this pandemic, leaving first few 3-4 months, suddenly there is a need of filmmakers. Now there is, as such, there is not much unemployment left in this department, because everything has become online. And not only, and people are also fed up by only talking and listening. So what you need more is to express yourself, the usage of visual media.
Visuals.
And
Yeah.
that's how all those filmmakers who are well trained, people who are educated and they know their job, they're back into the business. Every school, every college, every government body, every institution, they need visual media, they need films to express themselves better than only talking to their students. Imagine we have 15 lakh schools in this country. We have around about 100, around 1,000 universities. We have around about 40,000 standalone colleges. We have 31 crore students in this country and 1 crore teacher. Imagine to keep them busy, to keep this whole, the almost, you can say, 25% of the Indian population busy, you
Right.
need lot of visual media. And the largest interference, the largest genre, what you can find is now the educational films and instructional films. And simultaneously, obviously, you will have some more different kind of films which are going to come up. And I'm very happy because I wanted to make some films last month, and I tried to call up all those good students of mine I remember who recently passed out. And when I called them, they say, "I'm sorry, we are busy, sir. We have no time. We cannot come back." And I could make out. I say all those people who are trained well, mind you. If you're not going to study, if you have not spent your good time in your institution, I can't take guarantee. But someone who has learned well, they are busy right now. Trust me. This and
Yeah.
big business right now.
So, what do we see from Dr. Sandeep Marwah's kitty in the near future?
Well, I'm very excited about opening Radio Raipur on this coming 13th February, because that's going to be my second station. And if everything goes well, then I probably would love to have more stations, because I'm the only one who's running a community radio station and a community television station. I'm serving my nation through these two very important broadcasting stations. All these programs are full of art and culture, educational programs, and a Shisht Bharat and a Shresht Bharat and whatever you can, Atma Nirbhar, all those things. And I'm supporting my government thoroughly. All the programs what you can think of, I'm trying to propagate them to my best. Idea is that we must cooperate our government also, whosoever they may be. I don't care about the party. I'm talking about the government of this country must be supported by people so that we can move fast, so that we can recover fast from this huge loss which pandemic has brought to humankind. And I think everyone has to think on a positive way. And I'm sure with little more time, will be out of this, and all will be doing better. See, India is
Yeah.
definitely going to be a very big economy in just few years. If
Yes.
our Prime Minister is talking about it, then I'm sure he's not wrong about it, because we have such a large force, working force in this country. We are 1/6 of the world. Imagine. And we have 60% of the population is youth. I mean, you can do wonders. As it is, I was going through the statistics recently, and I was amazed to see that in most of the things we are first to sixth, first to 10th, all over the world.
Mm.
But excuse my saying, but international media will never let you grow. They will always project all the bad things possible. Everyone has got a bad side of the coin and a good side of the coin. So I think we have to be positive. We have to see that half glass is full, and we have to see that Thomas Edison has tried 9,999 times. It was not his failure, but it was very positive that he came to know that how electricity is not produced.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
let's be positive, and I'm sure things will be good.
Yeah.
Lot of good future. I'm absolutely positive about it.
Any plans on expansion of the film city?
Well, I'm very happy. My chief minister of UP has taken a very big project, and from 100 acres, we are now jumping to 1,000 acres in UP, right close to Greater Noida. And they have
Great.
already sanctioned the land. They have already the tentative plan is already being made, and now they are working on the costing part. And I'm sure another 3-4 months we will be hearing about the allotments and things like that. And the new airport
Wonderful.
is right next to it, so probably there's going to be a lot of buzz in Noida, a lot of excitement, a lot of people going to be there. Many new jobs are going to be there. The whole national and international creative field is going to be created, and people are going to play. I mean, Noida is going to be the biggest creative center of the country in just few years.
Yes,
As it
for
is,
sure.
as it is, there are about 4,000 cultural organizations right now working in Noida. Imagine, I have already declared Noida as the culture capital of India.
Yeah. So I'm quite sure, and I can visualize that happening as in now, from now onwards. So Sangeeta, coming to you, what can we see from your side in terms of documentaries in the
I'm
near
busy,
future?
in while I was in Jammu Kashmir, because after 2015 I got a transfer. I went to a very hostile state, but also equally beautiful. I was in Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, and all these areas was my work field. So I have shot many, I have lot of footage. Because of the pandemic, the movement is so slow, and I'm not able to travel and all. So I'm editing my films, and I'm working very hard on that. Last few months, I have made some documentaries, and I'm trying to experiment with what I have with my inputs. You will get to see many new films. And also, I'm working with, I've started doing my own voiceover because of the pandemic. There was, so much of hullabaloo. Also, writing my scripts for my documentaries. So, kind of on the job all the time. So, but
Yes.
this is one medium which really fascinates me. That you can, being a writer, I can do the script, I can do the voiceover, Bhagwan ki तरफ से कुछ ठीक ठाक बोल लेते हैं, तो वो भी कर रहे हैं. So all these I'm trying to enjoy myself. The whole process should be, you should love the whole process of making a film. It's the ultimate test of your creativity, where your sense of aesthetics, your sense of script, your writing, your poetry, everything can be, मैं अपनी डॉक्यूमेंट्री महाकुंभ उज्जैन सलीला का महाकाव्य, उसमें भी मैंने पोइट्री डाली है. आई एम ट्राइंग टू bring all the good things of life. Poetry is the beauty of life. उन सब चीजों को कैसे एक साथ एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाया जाए, उनसे साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट किया जाए, so that the outcome should be so beautiful and so good that people should enjoy. There should be some takeaway of aesthetics, of beauty, of some content. It should charge somebody to live a better life, to become a better person, to enjoy life, to relax.
You should submit
So
your
यही सब कर रहे हैं.
I say you should submit your documentary to this 9th Global Festival of Journalism. We have a wing where we are inviting documentaries from all the documentary filmmakers. They must submit their film to this festival, and these documentaries will be shown on television. And also,
I will submit, and I have to know the full details, the rules, regulations, and the deadline. I will submit some of my films there, of course, to reach wider audience. That would be nice, and to associate with you. Pleasure talking to you and listening to you.
So that's amazing. I would like to acknowledge some of the comments from the viewers who joined us today for the evening, for both of you. So Dr. Gagandeep Kaur joined us, and she had to say good evening to both of you. And Bejnar Prasad, good evening, everybody. Om Agrawal, very nice to see and hear you all. Akhilesh Singh, beautiful. Listening to all of these comments. Dr. Gagandeep Kaur, she says that you are indeed doing great for the economy, society, and the people as well, sir. This is for you, Dr. Sandeep. Om Agrawal had sent good luck for you, Dr. Sandeep. Rupam Singh shares, wow, commendable, Mr. Marwah. Radha Mahajan had sent good evening, all. Meenakshi Jijivisha has said, Sangeeta ji namaste. Hi Meenakshi, that is from my side to you. You have sent a message for me as well. Sandeep Marwah ji ko namaste from Meenakshi Jijivisha. Akshat Sinha had sent, I was there at both the screenings. This is for you, Sangeeta. And the change was visible at KNMA. Hats off to you, Sangeeta Gupta. So Aradhana Mahajan says, Sangeeta ji, your persistence is worth applauding. Remi Kumari says, good evening, Sandeep sir, Sangeeta Gupta ma'am, and Trisha. Dr. Gagandeep Kaur says, yes, quite interesting journey. Meenakshi Jijivisha says, great Sangeeta ji, salute to your valuable efforts for making films. Mahesh Swami is a parent to a student who studied in your studio, Dr. Sandeep, and he says, Marwah साहब नमस्ते, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई. आपके AFT के फिल्म डायरेक्शन के स्टूडेंट मोहनीश ने इट्स नॉट योर चॉइस एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म बनाई है, और हाँ, तो उसके बारे में वो मेंशन कर रहे हैं. मीनाक्षी जिजीविशा हैज सेड, संगीता जी, आई रियली लव द वे यू लाफ, दिल से निकलती है आपकी हंसी. विजया वेद सेड, ग्रेट संगीता जी. डॉक्टर गगनदीप कौर सेज, प्रोबेबली दैट्स द रीजन सर यू नो द इंट्रिसिटीज ऑफ एवरी वर्क इन योर प्रेस्टिजियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. मीनाक्षी जिजीविशा से संदीप मारवा जी को सुनकर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. We have other few more comments, interesting ones. Bejman Prasad says, appreciable passion towards filmmaking for both of you. Vijay Verma says, thanks for sharing the details. Aradhana Mahajan says, really impressed by your work, Mr. Marwah. Rupam Singh shares, nowadays people enjoy watching documentaries. Sangeeta's documentary films are brilliant. Remi Kumari says, awesome explanation of the films and advantage of documentary films, Marwah sir. Bejman Prasad says, documentary films have its own importance. These films are educative, informative, and providing useful knowledge. Remi Kumari says, very true, ma'am. In India, there are so many artists and artworks. Remi Kumari also says, wow, ma'am, great thought, very interesting. Says Vimindra. Shaji K. Nair has says hello to you, Sangeeta. There are a lot of comments from Dr. Gagandeep Kaur Gulati. You're perfectly correct, Sangeeta ji. Sandeep sir is quite motivating, encouraging, and supportive. Rupam Singh has to share. Mr. Marwah is a self-made man. I have deep reverence for your dedication and perseverance. Dr. Gagandeep Kaur Gulati says, yes, looking forward for this great event. Dr. Sandeep, what you have mentioned, she's talking about that. Thanks for the invite, sir. Vimendra says, good to hear two inspiring personalities together. Dr. Gagandeep Kaur Gulati says, I launched my Viewing Dreams talk show at Marwah Studios only, all thanks to Sandeep, sir. And now we had done over 300 talk shows in 1 year. And she's really impressed with the fact that you have given trainings to over 19,000 professionals. Vaishnav Prasad says, Mr. Marwah, your contribution towards making several documentary films is appreciable. Sangeeta ji, your contribution is also appreciable towards documentary filmmaking. Rupam Singh says, both of you are assets of not only the society but also the country. I agree with that. Rupam Singh says, good suggestion, Sangeeta. A dynamic personality like Mr. Marwah, who is running an institute, will definitely inspire his students to make a film on depression. So this is something that we can look forward to. Rupam Singh says, all the best, Mr. Marwah, for your new venture. Dr. Gagandeep Kaur Gulati says, awesome, sir, big achievement. Aradhana Mahajan says, Mr. Marwah, cheers for your good intention and efforts. Mahesh Swami says, I'm a proud parent because my son Mohinish is a student of AAFT. Best wishes to the AAFT family. Ramesh Bhutra says, thanks for giving beautiful knowledge about media, Mr. Marwah. Rupam Singh says, wow, I am also a resident of Greater Noida, proud that it is going to be the creative capital of our country. Then we have few comments from Aarti Zaveri. I need details for the Global Film Festival that is going to happen. That is for you, Dr. Sandeep. And congratulations, Sangeeta ji, for another successful show. Rupam Singh, thank you for a comment for me. And I really appreciate your comments, and thank you so much. So these are some of the comments that are there for both of you from the audience.
Thank you so
You may
much. Thank
please,
you so much.
yeah, you
Thank
may
you so
please
much,
go back
all
and
who are.
reply to your loving audience who have joined us today. And thank you, both of you, Sangeeta Gupta and Dr. Sandeep Marwah. It was a pleasure talking. It was my pleasure talking to both of you this evening, and it was very insightful conversation on filmmaking and documentary filmmaking. And we look forward to this Global Film Festival, of course, Dr. Sandeep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, all the audience who are with us.
Sangeeta ji.
I really express my heartfelt thanks to everybody who has taken time to listen to us and to participate and engage with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, our dear audience, for being part of us today. It was a lovely session, and we're soon going to be back with our 13th episode. If you liked watching our show today, please do not forget to like and comment. Your comments are highly appreciable. Do not forget to send us your feedback. We'll soon be back with a 13th episode, like I just mentioned. And till then, stay safe, stay healthy, rise and shine. This is Trisha Mahajan signing off. Good night. Thank you so much.